Welcome to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I'm your host, Noah Love. And this episode will be coming out a little bit later than probably usual. I have some things to take care of today that I couldn't record this as early as I usually do, but we're here now. We have a lot to talk about. The Julius Randle trade, obviously that went down. I said in the Giannis video we would get into that, which we will. I'm also going to be speaking on the NBA draft, kind of my surprises, what I thought was interesting. Obviously, we'll go through the lottery and talk about the picks. And this is what we're going to start with. Lamelo Ball. It was reported last night that the Hornets were fielding some aggressive trade offers for him, and that one of the teams interested was the Minnesota Timberwolves. Well, it is now official that the Timberwolves have traded for LaMelo Ball. Long intro, but it's worth it. Let's get right into it on the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast right here. We're starting with the LaMelo Ball trade. The Timberwolves get LaMelo Ball and Josh Green from the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets receive Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first rounder, 3 first round pick swaps, 3 second round pick swaps. Okay, let's start off with this. Jeff Peterson, I really don't know what the thought process is here. I'm being completely honest. I really do not understand what the thought process is. And the reason I say that, is just this kind of came out of nowhere. And after having one of your best seasons in recent memory, and yes, I know you fell a game shy of the playoffs, but you won 44 games. I mean, the Spectrum Center was electric. You gotta be, if this don't work out, buddy, you're gonna be out of a job. And I really don't understand. Still, I guess they didn't trust him as a leader, and I guess they're betting on him getting hurt. I mean, that's all I can think of. That's really all I can think of. Maybe the ankle injuries, and they finally felt like they got an offer that was worth Lamelo's Ball's play. They finally got an offer, but yeah, I just don't. I, for the Hornets, I don't know what your incentive was here, especially when around the second half of the season, I'll say, or I'll just go second half. When Lamelo was on the floor, they had the best offense in the NBA. The on and off numbers for Lamelo Ball were staggering. When Lamelo was on, they were the best offense in the league. When Lamelo was off, they they really dipped. And now Con Knipple is going to be looking at the number one option, and I just don't know. They extended Kobe White as well, so I guess he's their starting point guard. I guess Christian Anderson, who they drafted, will come off the bench, and I assume he'll be in the 6-man role. I guess the lineup they're going with will be Kobe White, Con Knipple, Brandon Miller, Naz Reid, and Diabate, or if Naz Reid if Nas Reed plays center, then they go Kobe White, probably Khan, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and then Nas at the 5. But I just don't, for Charlotte, I don't understand it. I don't understand it considering how young your team was and considering I thought you were in a good place for the first time in forever. You just needed to get better. And look, I said it about small market teams. Front offices are the reason certain teams, and even though the league hasn't done them any favors with this new draft system, I believe that the the league doesn't do small market teams favors anyway. But I do believe that the reason a lot of small market teams stay bad is because of the front office. Look, look at the King. Well, I don't. The Kings are in California. I don't know if they're small market, but they're just a bad but organization. Look at the Kings. Look at Charlotte. Look at New Orleans. Washington's gonna end up competing this year, but that's because the GM came in there and he said, I've got a plan." And he traded some players to get some veterans and assets, and he's traded those veterans and assets away to get a guy like a Trey Young or Anthony Davis, and then the one pick he doesn't trade, he gets lucky, and that's the number one overall pick in the draft, and is obviously AJ DeBosta. So I say bad organizations are why, front offices are why organizations stay bad. Owners too. So if the Hornets end up being bad for the foreseeable future, just look at this deal. But I do think there could be a chance, although I say all those things, Charlotte wins the deal. Number one, number two, number one, they've got a lot of picks in the future. Charles Lee's got a lot of picks. Number two, Minnesota. And I'm going to get to the Minnesota side of this because it is all or nothing. You have to win the championship. Now, I say that. And look, their thought process is, look, we need somebody that can hold their water in the backcourt with Anthony Edwards so that Anthony Edwards can't get double teamed. I understand that argument. I agree. I agree that they need to go and get a point guard. But I ask, can Lamelo Ball play winning basketball? And I think Lamelo Ball's a heck of a player, and I do believe in Lamelo Ball. But there are questions. He misses about 30 games a year. He's had bad ankles. Um, when he was in Charlotte, he's never still made the playoffs. So we don't know anything about him as a playoff performer. I'm just kind of being honest here. Like, this is a very risky deal for the Timberwolves. And then you also have to think about it like this. They traded for Rudy Gobert and they traded for LaMelo Ball. In those two trades, you know how many picks they've given up combined? They've given up 9. They've given up 9 picks. We are in the year of 2026. They don't hold a pick of their own until 2034. So in 8 years, they do not hold their pick until 2034. And so, I don't know. I'm going to look up Anthony Edwards' age right now, because I think this is very important to bring up. age. Anthony Edwards is 24 years old. He's this good at 24, wow. But he's going to be turning 25 before the season. So he'll be 25 years old. By the time 2034 hits, he would be 33 years old. And you wouldn't hold your pick. So you have no future assets. You're going for it. You're on team F them picks. You have to win the championship at one of these points. You cannot, and I mean cannot. This has to be you have to win the championship. And I know that's a lot of pressure to put on LaMelo Ball in this team, but look, you trade number one, you trade Karl Anthony Towns away and you won a championship. And you didn't win the championship. Number two, you don't own a pick until 2034, like it just stated. And number three, if you even if this team goes to the conference finals and loses, that does them no good because I went to the conference final. Why did I trade Randall and Cat in them? Because I went to the conference finals anyway with them. They also just gave Ayo Dosunmu a big contract. 5 years, 112 million. Or I think it might be 4 years, but I think the number was 112 million. The point is, he got a huge contract. The Wolves are the third best team in the Western Conference as of this moment. I believe that when the season ended. I believe that now. To me, it was going to be interesting to me to see is how that backcourt's going to play together. They're going to be very entertaining hoops. The post game interviews, the PR staff is going to be working overtime. For the foreseeable future, because Ball and Edwards, brother. But also, and this is the one, if they were able to keep Nas Reed, then I'd really be on board. No more Nas Reed. Where's your size? Outside of Gobert, you have no size. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you're now in a Western Conference where you have an alien who the Spurs just won the West and they have an alien. The Spurs just drafted 2 6'11" guys. Obviously they still have Wembanyama, who's incredible. Their size. How are you going to look them in the eye? The Thunder, they just were able to steal a Daimara at 12. So now they're going to have Chet, who's 7 foot, and a Daimara, who's 7'2". I don't know what's going to happen with Hardenstein, but I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But I'm just saying, size. How in a few years am I, or maybe in a few years, sometime in the foreseeable future, Utah. How am I going to look Utah? And Utah's got a wall. They just added Darren Peterson last night. They got a wall. They got Mark in it. They have Ace Bailey. They have Jaren Jackson. They have Walter Kessler. They have Filipowski. All of these forwards. They've got like 4 to 5 7-footers. So what, when you play them, Utah's just going to kill you on the glass? Heck, even I look at Houston even. Houston, now obviously Houston needs to do a lot of stuff to improve, right? But Houston, they've got a lot of size. When they get Adams back, he's 7 foot. Şengün 6'10", 6'11". Jabari Smith is 6'10". Oh, and Kevin Durant's basically 7 foot. So are you gonna get killed by them on the glass as well? The size is really the size to me is just a really big thing in that conference. If they were in the East, I'd feel better about them getting out of it just because the East, in terms of it's more of a guard heavy conference at this moment in time, and the teams aren't as big. Whereas you look at the Western Conference, I mean, they're big. Look, if Gobert gets into foul trouble, who's going to deal with Jokic? We forgot about him. Who's going to deal with Jokic? That's a thing as well. So, I it's very intriguing to me, this trade. I really want to see how it works out. Uh will it work out? I think it could. But again, I said the only reason it works out is if they win the championship. Because again, you don't own your pick till 2034. Your own pick until 2034. So you're really going for it. And so you have to win the championship. Again, whoever idea it was to give up 6 picks for Gobert, because this, in terms of the trade, isn't even ridiculous. This trade isn't even like ridiculous in terms of the value they're giving up. I've seen trades where obviously Mikal Bridges gets 5 picks, right? 6. They gave up 6 for Gobert, 6 picks. That to me still boggles my mind, and that to me, at bare minimum, they should have gave up 2 or 3. Like that. That to me is the trade that I'm kind of like, what are we doing? But yeah, that I wanted to talk about that. That is the big move there in the NBA. It shocked me how quickly it got done. In Charlotte, this was a big vote of no confidence. How you move Lamelo Ball and look, I'll say this: like Lamelo Ball, if the Hornets had sucked again and they moved him, okay. But the fact that you just had your best season in years and you move him, there's got to be something more to this that I'm not seeing. Because did they really just wake up one day and decide to shop him? Like, that to me is just a little bit crazy. But yeah, now let me jump into the Randall trade real quick because this will be quick. Julius Randle got traded to the Nets. They salary dumped him. It was a 3-team trade. Nick Claxton ends up going to the Bulls as the Bulls wanted a younger, athletic big. He goes there. The Wolves gave up their pick, their pick as well with Randall, and the Nets gave up like a couple picks as well. So they basically just salary dumped him, which tells me that he, they didn't even think he was worth getting more assets back for one, and two, they didn't even think to they didn't even think highly enough of him to at least get a player back. I mean, they just salary dumped him. And this also tells me he must have been a cancer in the locker room as well if you just salary dumped him. And look, Randall played bad, and I figured he'd get traded, but salary dump, wow. And now he's going to Brooklyn. From Brooklyn's perspective, I guess maybe he's obviously going to be the number one option, and maybe Brooklyn's like he can come in and help us win some games and help the young guys and whatever the case may be. But that, to me, Brooklyn taking the contract was a little bit surprising to me. I didn't think they would be the ones. I thought somebody else would take it, but or maybe a team that's in the middle level think that maybe was delusional and thought Randall could help us get to that upper tier and be a championship contender, and maybe they take him. But yeah, but overall, it's a very interesting week for the Wolves. Been very intriguing week for the Wolves, and that's been the trades. Now, I would get into Jaylen Brown rumors, but they said Boston. I guess he's actively being shopped. I'll get it. I'm not going to get too much into that because I don't know all of the information on that. But if he is actively being shopped, I said this. They're back in the Giannis video. You're gonna have to trade him because this is the third time you've tried to trade him. The first time was for Anthony Davis in 2019. The second time was for Kevin Durant in 2022. And now you've tried to trade him for Giannis, and he knows this. And then also, he wants to be the number one option. And so when you look at that as well, I think that could become an issue. I don't think Tatum cares who team it is, but Jaylen Brown clearly does. If you say he doesn't, you're delusional. Jaylen Brown saying that this was the favorite year of his career and all that. A year where they blew a 3-1 lead in the first round, not the year they won the championship. I just, he clearly, like, viewing his comments, he clearly likes being the number one option. So I don't know who takes him. People are saying Charlotte should go after him. People are saying Portland, which I don't know. Portland, number one, their ownership's too cheap to do that. Number two, him and Danny, I don't. Blazers, that's interesting. Some people said Atlanta. Atlanta's also interesting as well. But yeah, now let's get into the NBA draft. The top four went as I expected. Number one was AJ DeBonsta to the Wizards. Number two was Darren Peterson to the Jazz. Number three was Cam Boozer to the Grizzlies. Number four was Caleb Wilson to the Bulls. I'm going to say this about the Grizzlies. They now officially have the slowest front court in the history because I don't know how Cam Boozer and Edie's going to play together. Just don't know how that's going to happen. Honestly, uh, I'm looking at, because to me the Wizards. I've talked about the Wizards and how I like their direction in Utah. The teams in the top four. Grizzlies obviously started their rebuild this past year, but a majority of these teams, actually, I take that back. Two of these teams are going to be trying to win next season, the Jazz and Wizards. You look at the Jazz, they are loaded with talent. I mean, Darren Peterson, Keontae George, Bryce Sensabaugh, although I think he may be a free agent, but Ace Bailey, Laurie Markkinen, Walker Kessler, Isaiah Collier, Jaren Jackson, they're loaded with talent. I look at the Wizards, they have a lot of talent, basically loaded with talent as Well, I look at them. Obviously, you got Trey Young now. You have Trey Johnson, AJ DeBonster, Anthony Davis, Alexander Sarr, Bilal Koulibaly. They've got a very good. They've got a great. They've got a very interesting roster. From an from a offensive perspective, they're going to be. They're going to. I think they're going to be really good. From a defensive perspective, woof. I mean, defensively, interior they may be okay just because they have Anthony Davis and Alexander Sarr. But that perimeter defense, AJ's not a good defender. Trey most definitely ain't a good defender. That could be rough. The one thing I will be interested to see is how AJ can impact the game without the ball in his hands. Because now, look, to me, Anthony Davis, if he stays, he's gonna impact the game. If he's healthy, he's gonna impact it. He doesn't need the ball to impact the game. On the defensive end and really on the offensive end. He doesn't you want to get him the ball, right? But he doesn't need it all the time to impact the game. Trey and AJ right now need the ball to impact the game. AJ's not going to get the ball and be the number one option because, well, Trey is the point guard, and I'm assuming they're going to want him to have the ball. How can AJ DeBosta affect the game off the ball? That to me is going to be a big key with this Wizards team. And look, I expect them to make a big jump. I'm high on them. I think if Trey and AD are healthy, along with AJ and these young guys, I believe they can really jump in the East. I believe they could potentially be a play. I would have went play off if the Heat didn't make the move, but I'll say play in. But I believe they can win 44 games, 43, 44 games, somewhere around that. And I believe they can make a jump. And I kind of feel this the Jazz, I kind of feel similar now, although it's going to be harder for them to make a jump because I do expect Portland and some of their younger guys to get better. On top of their adding Damian Lillard, I do expect Dallas if Kyrie's still there. Cooper makes a jump in year two. Kyrie comes back a little bit of the player he was. They're a team that's very interesting. I'm interested to see what Phoenix looks like. Obviously, I think Golden State, if they can stay healthy, they'll be better. Um, but yeah, Utah and Washington, I think both can make big leaps. I do think Cam Boozer going to the Grizzlies is the right fit for him. The reason I say fit, I know I just said Boozer and Edie. I feel like how are they going to play together? I still feel that way. But the reason I feel like the team going to them is good for him is because Cam Boozer's game is not as polished as the other two guys. They're not trying to win right now. They're in the beginning stages of a rebuild. They're gonna try and move off of John Morant. So for him, he's going to be able to go there and work on his game and polish his skills and get better before they even think about trying to win. And so I think that's what Cam Boozer really needed. I don't think him going into a situation where they're looking for playoffs year one and they're looking to win. I mean, his flaws were going to get exposed. I think, and his flaws still are going, I think, to be exposed a little bit, but because he'll have growing pains, but the fan base will be more okay with that because okay, he's learning, he's growing as a player, and we're not trying to win anyways. To me, the guy was one of the highest upsides in this draft, Caleb Wilson. I love Caleb Wilson for Chicago. Caleb Wilson is he is what 6'10"? He's 6'10", 215. From a defensive perspective, he's amazing. I think he's one of, if not the best defender in this draft. I think his ability to switch on the floor, I think his ability to block shots. He has a very high upside. I think he is very explosive at and he plays above the rim and in the interior. He obviously is able to, play above the rim, dunk, plays hard. I think his jumper and his ball skills to me are going to be the big key in his on ball skills. If if he really can tap into that offensive upside, Caleb Wilson is going to be a heck of a player, and Chicago will be back because he is going to be great. Also, I have to say this. I like him because he does not need the ball right now to impact the game. Obviously, you want him offensively to tap into that potential and be better, right? With the jumper, and you maybe want him to have a better outside handle and all that, right? But from a defensive perspective, he's going to come in and make an impact day one. In the NBA, they switch everything. He can hedge. I mean, he's very good in the interior, and he's very athletic. He blocks shots. He's very active, so he's already going to affect the game on that side. So I love. He's one of my favorite players, honestly, in this draft, and I'm very high on Caleb Wilson. Now, the Clippers draft Keaton Walker. I guess. I know he killed the workouts and they took him at 5. I didn't really see it. Personally, I don't know. I mean, 6'6", 180. He's got pace and poise, but I think he's going to need to be more physical. And look, for Keaton Walker, for him to get drafted that high, considering where he was a year ago, he wasn't even one of the nationally touted freshmen. I mean, you look at Flemings, you look at Acuff, you look at Burries, you look at obviously Wilson, Boozer, Peterson, DeBonster. These were highly touted freshmen. Heck, even Nate Edmond. Keaton Walker wasn't a highly touted freshman, but he comes in Illinois, and about middle of the season, early to middle of the season, he starts lighting it on fire. And he was really the reason why they made the Final Four. Him coming on as well as he did and as strong as he did. So yeah, he obviously to become needs to become more physical, put on some weight. But I I don't know if I see the killer in him that I see with some of these other guys in this draft, with it like a Cuff, like a DeBonsta, like a Peterson. I don't know if I see that killer. Taking him at 5, it's very interesting. This is where I got a little bit surprised. At 6, the Nets took Michael Brown Jr. over Darius Acuff. Darius Acuff ends up going 7 to the Kings. Darius Acuff camp wanted to go to the Kings. On one hand, I understand because they didn't have a point guard and he would go and start day one. He's going to get a lot of shots up. right? They're not focused on winning, so he's really going to be able to develop. Number 2, good luck. Just good luck with that organization. He'll probably end up being a really good to great player for the first 6 years, and then they're still going to be bad. He's going to want out. They're going to trade him, and then he's going to go on, be great, be even more great, and probably win somewhere else. That's kind of just how it goes. And Kings fans, I'm sorry. That's probably how it's going to go. It's just you have the worst front office management in I won't say the history of sports, but it's close to there. Nets, Michael Brown Jr. They went very guard heavy last year. They go with a guard again who can really score the ball. I think he can. I think he probably can start right off the jump, just because, or at least compete for a starting job. Because look, it's Brooklyn, you stink. So this team has a lot of guards. Brooklyn does. So I think they wanted to go after Austin Reeves, but obviously Austin Reeves got the max and he's back at the Lakers. And so now they obviously wanted a guard this offseason and they took Michael Brown. I thought Acuff may be the better player. But Michael Brown Jr. I think has the chance to be a heck of a player. So I'm not really mad at it. Atlanta takes Kingston Flemings at 8. Very good move. I I think you needed another guy who can go off the dribble and play make. And also Kingston Flemings is a good defender. I think I think the thing with CJ is look, CJ McCollum is 34 years old, right? And he's not really a point guard. He's a two guard. You need an actual point guard to come in there and also help with the half court offense because as much as I like Jalen Johnson, his half court he's not great in half court shot creation. And he's just not good. He is just not that good. So I real so I think Kingston Flemings will help with that. I think that's a very good pick for them. Dallas 9 took Morez Johnson. Really thought they had the chance to take. I thought it was going to be one of the 3 Michigan guys. Really thought it couldn't be Mara just because they're shopping Gafford. But they're taking Morez Johnson Jr. at the 4, pairing him with Cooper Flag. Morez Johnson is very heck of a defensive player, very big physical presence. Player him with Cooper Flag and Kyrie doesn't need the ball to have an impact on the basketball game. I I don't I kind of like it for them in terms of the fit. I I kind of like it. Number 10, Burries, guard Arizona. He went to Milwaukee. That makes sense in terms of guard, especially if you're gonna trade Tyler Hero. That makes sense. Number 11, the Warriors took Yaxel Lindenborg. Obviously, they took him. He's going to be able to contribute right away. They needed some length and versatility. Also, Lindenborg's ability to shoot 3, and he's just a 3-level scorer in general. Love that. Adai Mara dropping to OKC at 12. I mean, Sam Presti just does it, doesn't he? I mean, he just continues to do it. Incredible pick. I think that's an incredible pick there. The the Bucks took Nate Ament, who is a project. He's a project And Milwaukee is the perfect place for him to be a project because obviously they're not looking to win, right? They're looking to go back into a rebuild, and so him having the chance to grow and to develop there potentially, I think that's a good spot for him. One of the big shocks to me of the draft was when Phylon, LeBron, LeBron, Phylon, he dropped to the Sixers. Again, the Sixers, that guard trio is gonna be nasty. With you look at Maxey, Edgecombe, and Phylon, the ball can most certainly be put in the hoop. Yeah, I thought him being um I thought Phylon was gonna be a lottery pick, and him falling as low as he did, I was kind of surprised. I love what the Spurs did. The Spurs got beef. That's what I mean. They got beef. Like they said, you know what? We're not going to get Wimby's a little bit skinny. Obviously, Wimby has to put on more weight. But we're just going to get more beef around him. They traded for Terrace Reed, who the Nuggets had originally drafted, and then they get Jaden Quaidens. And look, Jaden Quaidens could be a steal just based off the fact of if he stays healthy. I mean, you saw it in the games for Kentucky this year if you watch college basketball. If he, the games he was healthy, he made a big impact because he's run, jump, and dunk. He's very athletic, can block shots. And knowing the luck of San Antonio, he probably will be able to stay healthy. Terrace Reed is just a big body who can come in, be active, grab a lot of offensive rebounds, block shots, does have a post game. So I do think the Spurs did a good job there. But that's it in terms of my reaction to the draft. Nothing real too hasn't been nothing too crazy, right? In terms of this draft. Again, the only one I felt like was big was Phylon. I think Phylon dropping as low as he did, that was a bit of a surprise to me. All right, everybody. This has been an episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until the next time, see ya.